Now to unveil our digital learning movement is Mr. Jacob Oliva, Assistant Superintendent.
I can't stand in one spot, so I have to walk around and talk if you don't mind. Welcome. I hope everybody had a wonderful breakfast this morning, and I appreciate the opportunity to take a few minutes about our one-to-one digital movement. We're calling it a deployment story, so we kind of have like a little package that we're going to talk a little bit about. And to kind of piggyback on some of the comments that Ms. Valentine had just said about the personalized learning, we talked a little bit about that last year, and I don't know if anybody remembered, but I kind of gave a little bit of story about how there's no perfect Pepsi, only perfect Pepsis. See, some people remembered. And we know that one size doesn't fit all. In education, the movement in the direction that we're heading is going to be a customized learning environment and a personalized learning environment tailored towards those students. And this technology integration component that we're working on is going to help us be able to deliver that model and be competitive in the 21st century. So we're going to talk a little bit about it. I'm stealing this a little bit from kind of a marketing perspective. And if you follow business models or major companies, when they roll out initiatives, they focus on three key factors. It's the why, where most companies start with the what and the how and never get to the why. So today we're going to start with the why and then go to how and then the what. Because if everybody walks out of here saying, we're giving every kid a digital device, that's what we're doing. We all know that. But if we don't know why we're doing that, then we're going to have a major disconnect. We're not going to increase rigor. We're not going to personalize learning environments. All we're going to do is raise our power bill, and that's not the goal of what we're trying to do. So I'm going to start a little bit about why. We created this little video. I'm sure some of you have seen those kind of did you know videos online. So we made a little more modern one and then put some Flagler facts in there to start painting the picture of why we need to change the way we're delivering instruction and what we're going to try making it look like here in the future. So we'll just take a few minutes and check this out. This is where we can clap. We're 11th ranked district. So basically, we can say that we're living in a changing world that is changing faster than it's ever changed before. And what we're preparing kids for isn't necessarily content-based, because new information is changing faster than we can deliver it, but skill-based, which is an interesting concept for us. And I think that's why we're starting to see educational shifts such as Common Core, new standardized assessments, where we're asking kids to do different things, because it's not about being able to deliver or master content. We have to give students skills that they can use to carry over. And what you're seeing from the business industries is they're saying our students aren't ready. And so when the business industries are saying that our students aren't ready, we have to change what we do. One of my favorite quotes, and I've shared it often by Alvin Toffler, is that equally important, students must master more than content, but they must acquire the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And I think that's a profound statement, because as information and what we do changes, it's something that we have to keep up with. An example that I've often shared is I remember when Microsoft Office came out back in the day. I think everybody was on 2.0 or 1998 version, and I could go on to Word and I could type essays and I can do a grammar check and a spell check and a dent paragraph. I knew Microsoft Word 1998. What happened in Office 2000? It completely changed. I still knew the program, but I had to unlearn the format of 1998 and relearn a new format of 2000, which has been updated, and we're going to see that constantly every day. So what we're preparing kids for, we want them to have those skills to enter into those high-wage, high-skills jobs, and we're seeing that marketplace change all the time. I've shared an example. Everybody can go to a grocery store just about anywhere on Palm Coast right now and do self-checkout, right? That's a workforce industry change. So if you're looking at the types of jobs that were eliminated because of that, that would be that entry level, would be considered a low skill, low wage position. The position that has been created is someone to fix that computer when it breaks and to write those programs, which requires a technical high skill background. So the demand for jobs are still there. What's being necessary to be qualified for those jobs is changing. And one place I've always seen too, I always kind of was stubborn with this whole SunPass thing. Does anybody use SunPass? You travel on the highway. I kept saying, oh, just pay a toll. Well, then I finally broke down and got one because we traveled over summer. My wife was like, we're getting a SunPass, we're not dealing with this. And then when I drive by, I'm like, look at all those losers, like you're going like 70 miles an hour. I was like, this is like the greatest thing ever. But what's happening, and I think this is kind of interesting, is I was seeing, I didn't even know this existed till you came to one, is that you get to some of these toll booths and you can't pay anymore. It's SunPass only. Like, wow, like that's pretty profound. So they're forcing us to shift, and I probably should share this example. I don't even know if I told Miss Valentine, but I had to go to Orlando once. I shouldn't tell these stories, but I do. I had to go to Orlando to a school, and I was in Miss Valentine's band, and she doesn't have SunPass. And I was getting off an exit, and I didn't realize when I was getting off an exit that it was SunPass only. And I had $1 in my hand, and I pulled up, and I was like, man, I don't know what to do. I got this $1, and I can't do anything. So I did like what anybody else did. I covered my face and just kept going. Good thing I'm with Miss Valentine's, man. If you get a ticket, that's my fault. I didn't share this story. That's a true story. So when we're looking at what we're trying to do to prepare students for the 21st century, let me see if I can get my student to come up. There she is. She's always just hanging out. There used to be a time where we said that if students mastered these skills, they were proficient. Even when I was in high school, we took the high school equivalency test or something. We were doing standardized testing back then. And if we knew our reading, math, our core subject areas, whether you're going to college, to the workforce, you were prepared. Does anybody remember those times? We probably refer to them as the good old days. And then we came along, and whoops, I went a little quick. Sorry about that, it's always back. Then we started saying, well, kids need to be more well-rounded. We need to learn about global awareness, financial literacy, economics, entrepreneurship, health and wellness started becoming big in the curriculum. So we had to add that on top of our core curriculum. And then if that wasn't enough, then we said they also have to be able to be innovative, critical thinkers, collaborate, accountable, have people skills. And we're required or expected to make sure our kids have all these skills. It's a pretty tall task. Can we agree? That's a lot to offer. So what's making us do is change the way we deliver our content and prepare our students. So one way that we can look at this, not only is what the students are expected to do, the role of the teachers expected. Because there was a time that the teacher was the primary deliverer of knowledge. So if the kids had a question, who would they ask? A teacher. If kids have a question today, we just saw there's how many billions of Google searches every month? Kids are having access to different kinds of information. So the role of the teacher is not just a primary deliverer of content, but kind of that visionary person, the facilitator of learning. So we're seeing lots of changes. So as we look at what is it that those skills, we're still kind of create the why here. Now we're going to the how. We know why we have to change what we're doing. So we're kind of getting to how we're doing. If we look at those skills that we're asking kids to do, what we want them to do, and this is why we're doing what we're doing, is we want our kids to be global digital citizens. That is where we're headed. And that is why we are rolling out our technology initiative. Ian Jukes, he's the founder of an educational blog called The Committed Sardine. If you ever go on there, he's got brilliant stuff. And his quote, I think, is spot on, where it talks about the essential 21st century fluencies are not about hardware. We're not just giving kids computers. It's about headware. How can we make these kids think when we're giving these computers to be global digital citizens? So the next question you should all be saying is, well, what does that mean to be a global digital citizen? Ian Jukes' work breaks down what he calls a 21st century fluency project. I don't know if anybody's read that or been involved in it. You can Google search it. It's brilliant stuff in my opinion. He names these 5 fluencies. Solution fluency, that's problem solving. Kids got to be able to solve problems. There's more than one way to get to an answer. We got to be able to create that environment where they can solve those problems. Information fluency, how many zettabytes of information is going to be produced this year? But if kids and students can't validate that information or get the right information or know what to do with the information that they're acquiring, that's a skill that they have to be fluent in. Media fluency, information comes in lots of different media formats. So not only do kids need to know how to get the right kind of information and what to do with it, but once they're able to produce their own content, what type of media is that going to require? Because we don't want just consumers of content, we want producers of content. Collaboration fluency. Those are those 21st century skills. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but kids kind of hang out different these days. When I was a kid and I wanted to hang out with my friends, actually I went to their house, see what was going on. Well, now they just go online. So they're lacking some of these collaborative skills. So we have to provide opportunities for students to learn how to get along with each other. Students have to learn how to communicate with each other. They have to understand that you can't fill out a job application in text message. It's not going to work. There's expectations, and that there's certain environments that those behaviors are acceptable and others are not. Creativity fluency goes along with the arts. And I don't know if anybody's read Daniel Pink's work on how right brain careers are going to rule the world. It's fascinating. It's really interesting. When some of his beliefs are, you kind of have the big 3: Asia, automation, and abundance, which is changing our workforce because of outsourcing, offshoring, and companies are finding cheaper labor in other countries. But that labor is kind of that left brain, road kind of factory type work, that low skill, low wage. But the one thing that those countries can't do is tap into American culture and figure out what makes us work. It's like that's why when you go to buy a toaster, you don't care about how fast it makes your toast brown, but if it matches your cabinets. That's the kind of philosophy, and you have to have people to be able to design that. So engineering is changing because there's a creative component to engineering. Those are the global citizen fluencies. I highly encourage everybody to really think about that and research that, because if we're designing our units and lessons around those skills with our new addition of technology, then our students are prepared. It's plain and simple. One of the questions is, well, how do we kind of get that there? So I always like to look at teaching of what we know. Everybody in this room should know about Bloom's taxonomy, right? Heard of it, I hope? I still teach this stuff. He came out in the 50s, talked about higher order thinking skills. We call those our HOTS questions. And then the lower order thinking skill, the LOTS. A lot of time we're in the LOTS, but we need to be in the HOT. Well, his followers in 2001, I don't know if a lot of people realize this, changed them from nouns to verbs, which makes a lot more sense because it's about what the student's doing, not necessarily what the teacher's doing. And they put creating, that kind of right brain world, as the top. They flip evaluation and synthesis, which I thought that was kind of interesting. So when we say that students need to be producers of content, not just consumers, that's higher level Blooms. And we can use this technology to get us there. So if we take something that we know and then look at digital Blooms, has anybody researched digital Bloom's taxonomy? There is an abundance of information out there. It tells you what you should be doing with this technology in order to get the students to those higher levels. And then on the right, you can see the communication spectrum. We talked about that being one of the skills. Kids collaborate and communicate differently. We need to provide those opportunities to teach them what's appropriate. Higher level Blooms, those are the types of things when we're creating your podcasting, broadcasting, video mixing, blogging. If you're just Googling stuff, that's lower level thinking. I know we're not allowed to use the rigor word, but if you want to get to that rigor, it's higher level. So what does that kind of look like? These are all web-based, pretty much free resources, already broken down to the different levels of Blooms. I've never even heard of half of these programs, but they're out there. This is what's happening in classrooms around the world, around the nation. They're finding ways to incorporate these skills, that global digital skill student, into the classroom. Some of you may say, well, I'm getting iPads. Okay. Well, here's some iPad apps at Bloom's taxonomy for different levels, most of which are free or that we already own as a district. So as we're thinking, as we're planning, we're going back to the why. It's not about giving kids stuff. It's not about just babysitting them with this technology. It's about using these tools to make kids think. These are different ways to do it, and obviously we want to get to the higher level thinking. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the what, because hopefully we have an understanding of why we're doing what we're doing, and we're getting an idea of how we can get there. This is what we're doing. Everybody's heard about our technology plan. It's been in the media. I'm hoping somebody heard about it, besides my mom. She heard about it. You're giving everybody a computer. Yeah, Mom. We're giving all students access to technology. We have a one-to-one initiative that already started. Deployment started last night. We had high school students up here last night and their parents getting their MacBooks, and you should have seen them walking out of here from the stories I heard. They are excited to learn. Our kids are going to be excited to learn. We can't let them down. 5 through 12 will be one-to-one. That's our goal. That's where we're headed. We're going to be redistributing our technology to push it down into every grade level. This is what it's going to look like. 2013-14, 14-15, 15-16, this is our 5-year plan, which may change because technology changes. But by this year, by Christmas, I'm going to say Thanksgiving, but we're really pushing these tech folks. So I'm going to say, actually I can't say Christmas, I'm going to say by winter break, this should be fully implemented. MacBook cards, 2nd and 3rd grade, a 3-to-1 ratio, 4th grade 2-to-1. The MacBooks 5th through 8th 1-to-1, and the new MacBook Airs 1-to-1, and those students will be taking them home. So they're theirs. They're going to customize them. They're going to create their own learning environment with those tools. It's pretty exciting. We're going to be the first district in the state of Florida to roll this out district-wide, period. We are on groundbreaking. This is going to help us provide that personal learning, those 21st century skills, that global digital citizen. Every student's going to have access. That we're eliminating that digital divide. or that information divide is what some people are saying, that the digital divide has actually been closed, but it's access to information that's creating a divide. I don't know if anybody's heard that. One of the things on there too is we often lose a lot of our technology. I'm sure the CART teachers know when testing comes around, because we have all the computerized assessments, the computer CART teachers lose their technology and they have to change everything they're doing, so it takes us a little bit backwards. This eliminates that problem. This is brilliant. These tools are going to be aligned with the common standards, our textbooks. We're going to be going digital on that. It's the direction that we're heading. So that's a little bit about our one-to-one movement.